Never trust a car until you've seen what it does when everything goes wrong. Because after 48 hours of nonstop heat, cold, water, off-road, punishment, high-speed runs, fast-charging loops, and stress tests that no owner would ever try, this Tesla Model 3 finally gave up. And the way it failed shocked us more than the failure itself. For years, people have argued about electric cars. Some say they're the future. Some say they're just fast computers with wheels. Some swear they can't handle real-world abuse. So instead of guessing, we did what any curious person would do. We ran a Tesla Model 3 through every test we could think of, back to back. No brakes, no cooldowns, no mercy. By our 48, something inside the car finally snapped. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened, why it happened, and what this says about the future of EVs as a whole. Most people only see electric cars in normal conditions. City driving, smooth streets, charging at home, nothing extreme. But cars in the real world face heat, cold, rain, potholes, long drives, panic braking, bad roads, dust, hours of nonstop usage. Gas cars have already proven what they can handle. But EVs don't actually know where the breaking point is. So we wanted to answer one simple question. How much punishment can a Tesla Model 3 take before something breaks? To find out, we lined up every torture test we could fit into 48 hours straight. No major repairs, no rests, no babying, just push after push after push. And this is the full story of how the car started, how it struggled, and how it finally reached its limit. Hour 123, extreme heat test. We started in brutal heat. The temperature outside was over 40 degrees Celsius. Inside the battery pack, it was even hotter once we pushed the car. The goal was simple. Drive it hard, keep the cabin AC blasting at max, repeat high-speed pulls, and let the sun cook everything for hours. At first, the car handled it well. The cooling system kicked in, the fans were loud, but steady. The battery temperature kept climbing and falling as the car tried to keep itself alive. But after about 2 hours, the power started dropping. The car limited acceleration. The screen showed warnings. The motors needed a break. But we didn't give it one. This was just the start. Right after overheating the battery, we pushed the car into the cold. Rapid temperature swings are some of the worst things any machine can experience. Rubber contracts. Battery chemicals slow. Plastics get stiff. Electronics get stressed. We blasted the cabin heater. We turned on seat heaters. We left the car in freezing wind, with the doors open and closed over and over again. The battery heater kept fighting. The range dropped faster. The screen lagged, and the cabin made cracking sounds as materials adjusted to the cold. But still, the Model 3 survived. Next, we hit the supercharger. Charge from 10% to 90%. Strain it back to 10%. Do it again and again and again. Fast charging puts huge stress on lithium batteries. Heat builds up. Cooling systems run non-stop. Cells age faster. By the 6th cycle, charging speed dropped hard. The car was trying to protect itself. Temperatures inside the battery were spiking. Fans were roaring. It felt like the entire car was breathing heavy, trying to cool down, but still, it charged. Then came the range test, starting at 100% and draining the battery to 0% over and over. EVs hate hitting 0%. It stresses the battery and confuses the battery management system. We drove until the car begged for a charger. Then we ignored it and pushed for that last bit. The screen got dim, the power dropped. The car slowed itself down. The estimated range went wild. By the 3rd full drain, the computer struggled to calculate anything correctly. But again, it kept working. This is where things started getting ugly. Fast corners, hard braking, full acceleration, tight steering. No cooldown laps, tires screaming, brake pads smoking. The battery heating up from every push. The Model 3 is fast, but heavy, and you feel that weight. The brakes started fading. The steering felt looser. The tires overheated. The battery temp shot up again. Warnings appeared on screen. Regenerative braking was limited. The car forced itself into a slower mode. This was the first time we thought it might actually fail. But after resting it for just 2 minutes while lining up cones, it bounced back. Took it to a long, empty stretch and kept the speed above 160 kilometers per hour for as long as possible. Aerodynamic drag, heat and battery drain kill, EVs at high speed. The power dropped. The battery bar fell like a waterfall. The suspension felt soft at the top end, and the steering became more sensitive than comfortable. The underside of the battery was getting hammered by airflow and debris. The heat pumps and fans were pushing their limits, still alive. We moved straight into repeated panic stops from high speed, over and over, to test brake fade, to test rotor heat. To see how the abs handled stress, the first few were perfect. Strong grip, precise control. After a while, the pedal got softer, stops got longer. The smell of burning pads filled the air. The rotors were glowing, heat soaked into the wheels. This is where softer materials inside the wheel well started bending. Still, nothing broke. The Model 3 doesn't have a traditional launch control, but hard acceleration launches are still brutal. Electric motors deliver instant torque, which destroys tires, stresses shafts, and spikes battery current. We launched the car again and again for hours. Traction control flashed constantly. The tires got eaten alive. The motors got hotter. The acceleration slowed. The battery dropped at insane speeds. But the drivetrain still didn't break. We took autopilot through sharp curves, bad lane markings, heavy glare, quick lane changes, and messy roads. The cameras got dirty. The sensors kept recalibrating. The car kept warning. Autopilot kept trying. It hunted for lines. It jerked at times. It made mistakes. The car asked us to take over more and more often. Autopilot didn't fail, but it struggled more than almost any other system. We soaked the car with heavy water spray, simulated driving in rain, hit puddles at speed, flooded the underbody, and pushed water near the battery casing. Water and electricity are enemies. This is where the first real problem started. Underbody panels began to come loose. They sagged. They scraped the ground. These panels are made of fiber material, not metal, and water turned them soft. But still. The car drove. It pushed it over rocks, dirt, mud, uneven surfaces, and deep ruts. The suspension bottomed out. The car hit bumps meant for SUVs. Dust got into every corner. The motors whined louder. The cabin panels rattled. The interior felt like it was loosening. The ride was harsh, but mechanically, the Tesla fought through. We drove it off small drops again and again, enough to stress the shocks, enough to test the mounts, enough to push the weight of the battery pack against the frame bolts. A loud clunk started. At first it seemed small, but it grew. Something in the suspension got tired. Metal on metal. Wear on bushings. Still not broken, but getting close. Sharp turns. Full locks. Parking lot loops. Low-speed stress. High-speed stress. Tight turning circles. The steering felt rough. The motor-assisted rack made a grinding noise at full lock, but the car didn't quit, charging the battery through regen over and over on steep declines. The battery temp rose again. Regen weakened. Limit warnings came back. The system fought against itself, trying to balance heat. Still alive.